Breakdown first, let's start with Qs. We'll go over NASDAQ, S&P, then we will hit SMH, the semiconductors, and then we will hit the main ones after this. All right, so going into this QQQ, resetting the chart, we are making highs right now, 582. That's where we're at right now. If you look overall on the 5-year chart, you will see that this is approaching 600. So Qs is getting there. It's getting to all-time highs. And right now, there is no ceiling. So 587, it is floating above right now. Keep an eye on it. If you're trading long-term, it is clear to see we are in this beautiful channel uptrend for the last year. Since basically April, it's been doing this. So this is what's nice about it. If you bought this dip in April, you've just been kind of going like this the entire time. So zooming in, April dip right here, nice move, all the way up 400 up to 590 basically. You're up 50% just buying an ETF, which is tech stocks. So it's definitely something to pay attention to. We have Qs at the highs right now at 587. Everybody's calling 6,000. I think we're going to see it next week right before the rate cut, September 19th. So just keep an eye on that. Next, you have SPY. Let's go over S&P 500. You always got to take a look at the S&P 500. Look at the long-term perspective first. I hit the 5-year. Just zooming out just to see what we're looking at here. Right now, S&P 500 is approaching $660 per share. This is a huge milestone for the S&P. It's making new highs every single day at this point. If you're looking for pullbacks, you know, you could be looking for the 650 for the first retest, but it's kind of a very short and shallow range on it. If you look at 650, pull back to there, that would be about a 1.19% pullback. So you just want to be cautious. You know, if you're going to buy these dips, that's fine. Hopefully we get a deeper pullback up to like 640 to 642. I would like to see that. Overall, if you're going to trade individual stocks, you got to watch the Qs. You have to watch SPY. And if you're going to trade semiconductors, you need to watch SMH. Mark that off, SMH, the VanEck semiconductor. We have videos like that on my YouTube channel that just break down if you just want to hold that, not pick individual stocks. It is definitely something to keep an eye on here. So when you're looking at SMH, you were trading semiconductors, NVIDIA, AVGO, MU, all of those bad boys, all right? Year to date, if you were to just buy on that dip like we were calling out in the WAP in April, this is the power of just sometimes when you trade within just the sectors, like a semiconductors, for instance, you'd be up 60, let me move this over so TikTok can see it, you'd be up over 62% from its high of $304. Now just zooming in a little closer on the 3-month chart here, it is clear that 304 is our next base. I'm going to make this a little bigger for us. Solana is definitely on the run. I agree with you on that one. Solana, yeah, appreciate that. Thank you guys for supporting on the TikTok. You guys are awesome. Anyways, looking at this over here, trading SMH, we're looking for pullbacks here, and you want to, I would definitely be trying to stay bullish, especially on Monday. If we get pullbacks and SMH is holding 298 to 300, look for the consolidation and then the push higher. Nothing wrong with that. Since we went over QQQ, SPY, and SMH, now we're going to start hitting just the big cap Mag 7, and then we'll hit what I think is going to be the next Magnificent 8. So looking at here, Tesla, we've been calling this out on my WAP. For those of you who don't know what that is, just go on YouTube, go on my channel, Trading Simplified, you'll see what it is. So Tesla has broken this 369 level resistance, which was clear as day right in here. You had it around May, the end of May, 368 resistance. It tried here, failed. And then once it broke through, this is really where you started to see the upwards momentum. Is it overbought right now? Yes, because when you think about it, I have shares I'm holding down around 200, but this candle right here is basically bulls coming in and shorts covering. I mean, that is massive bull flag coming in, massive covering. You got to look at your RSI here. We are 83. And I am definitely, I have Tesla. I hold them long term in my portfolio. So, but you have to point out when you see that the RSI is this elevated, I just want you at least to be aware that shorts are going to be trying to come in and short this down around $400 per share, most likely. When you look at the 5-year chart, I really see potentially, and this isn't even like a real level. I'm just going off of previous resistance points. You can see around $416 right here would be your, or 414 it looks like, would be your previous resistance. And this is all the way from November of 2021. So if we're going to see resistance, potentially it'll hit around that mark. And let's just see what the percentage would be around there. If Tesla continues to be bullish, and when Tesla goes, it likes to just keep going. So that'd be another 4 to 5% moving up. So I definitely would be cautious if you're going to be buying long on Tesla. Let me just decline this. Somebody's saying co-host. I don't know what that means. I'm new to TikTok Live, so when this is like my third live stream with it. I mainly have everything on YouTube, so I'm not sure what that means by co-hosting, but let's see here. So we have Tesla right here at 396. If we get that pullback, the pullback I'd be looking for is around 370. Now, it doesn't mean the move is dead, but I definitely think that we need to be cautious here. Look for your forward momentum. I'm not really sure if you could really consider $390 a support level. It's kind of in the abyss. So for me, I'm going to watch it with my shares down at the $200 level. But if I get a pullback to 370, maybe look for a push higher, something that I could consider. But RSI is very high right now. On the 1-year chart, it is at 75. Let's break down Google now. So I'm just going to watch Tesla as we're going. I'm sitting in the driver's seat holding my April tariff shares from $220 per share, looking pretty right there, and 100, like 200, 210, 220, all that. So now looking at Google here, Google is at the moon right now. I drew this out last week. This is the moon right here, this white right here circle. And Google has approached the moon at this point. I think Google, we can see retesting new highs here. It's going to probably go to 250 realistically, psychological support up here. I definitely would be looking into that. And if you're looking for pullbacks on Google, I just think it's a little too late. I would not be adding up at the highs of 250. It doesn't mean it can't continue drifting higher, but you just have to be kind of aware and use your common sense here. The absolute high of Google was at $210, $206. If you really zoom in on it, 206 was the absolute high. Once it broke that, it does what stocks normally do, is they start floating into the abyss. So I'm going to wait for a pullback. I think we'll eventually get this pullback, especially with rate cuts coming. Let's see if everybody's happy with 0.25% because that's like the 80% chance they're saying. So a nice 12 to 13% pullback on Google back to 200. Maybe I'll add to my position, even though I added in April when everybody was afraid, around 140 to 160. This was the entry. And looking at Google just from there, if you joined my WAP, you would have known this. You're up over 70% right now. So that's a nice gain we have there. I'm looking for pullbacks back to 200. That would be nice as well. It says I can invite him. I'll invite him. Let me see. I don't know what this means. I sent an invitation on, I guess, TikTok. You can request to be in. I'm not sure how that works. All right. So now, looking at it, let's break out down the next stock here. We went to Google, we went to Tesla. We want to hit the MAG 7 stocks, and then we'll hit the MAG 8 stock that I think is eventually going to be included within this. Let's take a look at Apple stock. Apple stock here on the max chart. I'm just going to bring up the 1-year chart, look a lot cleaner. Let me just reset the chart here. So looking at this here, you have Apple trading at $235 per share. We are trading in this nice zone here. So take a look at this. We are continuously uptrending on Apple. And Apple just has such a strong momentum and following with their fans. Once you basically start buying their phones, their computers, it's very hard to get away from because everything's integrated. So it's a very smart move on their part. I think if you're trading this long term, what I always say is you want to buy in these trends, But more importantly, I like to dollar cost average at the bottom of these trend lines, and that's what I've been doing when I buy Apple long term. Right now, I want to see what it's going to do at 250. Are we going to hold this and start making a push up, because the upside is not as enticing here from 240 up to 280. It's a 17% move, but pulling back, it's another 18% move. So when you compare your risk to reward, if I'm going to buy long term, I want to be patient. I want to see where we're going to go from here. I want to dollar cost averaging companies that I believe in long term, but I don't want the risk to reward to look like this. You'll notice the boxes are very close together. So risk reward is really not there for me for the Apple. So I'm just going to continue just to watch it for now. Next, we are going to go into Meta. Meta is another member of the Magnificent Seven, and they are making higher highs, $800 almost dollars they were at. Now they're trading back at $755 per share, which is impressive. Let me see. Okay. So now looking at this here on the 1 year chart, Meta, for it to pull back, I'm looking for pullbacks to about the $700 range. That would be nice. And next stock we'll jump into is Amazon. Amazon is something that's on my watch list. It's been pulling back, and Amazon is a stock that I want to hold in the YouTube portfolio long term, but we really just haven't had good opportunities. I put my money into Google during those April lows. Put it into Google, Tesla, and UNH. That was my goals with that. So when I'm looking at this, when you look at Amazon, that would have been an excellent buy as well. I bought more of FSPGX, the growth fund that holds all of these, and I put my money into Google, UNH, and Tesla, and we're up over 50% on all three of those. So sometimes you don't have unlimited ammo. You got to pick a stock that you're going to do. Amazon was a stock that I definitely wanted to use, but at the end of the day, it's okay. We can look for pullbacks on this, and looking for pullbacks, let's just get rid of some of these lines because this looks really sloppy. So when I go back on the 6-month chart, I like to see, I think we're going to need something to happen here with the rate cuts, like bad news, like they're not going to like the 0.25% rate cut on the 19th, something similar to that. But this is kind of what I'm looking for. I want to see a pullback to about the 220 range. And in a perfect case scenario where I feel like I'm getting what I want, it would be $200 per share. But I think that's just too much of a pullback. Amazon, when you look at it, 228, pulling back to 220 is only a 2 to 3% pullback. If we get a pullback to 200, that would be a 10 to 11% pullback. I'm just being very patient with these big dogs. I'm trying to wait. And I think right now is not the time to be buying Amazon. I want to wait until at least 220 to think about it. Maybe 210, but really 200 is my loading zone of where I would like to buy them. We'll definitely hit like Solana, ETH, Bitcoin in them at the end. I just want to look at a few more stocks. Let's go over Microsoft, then we'll jump over to what I think is going to be. I think Microsoft, if you look at this stock, it is about to reverse again and start moving higher. I'll break it down why. Looking at Microsoft here, I have them as well, like around like 300, 350 cost basis around there. Bought them on the April lows as well. That was another company that I continued to buy. We are uptrending. And when you look at support level, psychological level, 500 is holding. It is bouncing off that $500 level. Going to go on the 1 month chart so you can see a little better. Sorry, Weeble's being a little weird with this charting. Here we go. So it is holding a base around this $500 per share. If we can get above $515, then I will consider it for another long position. But this is strictly a day trading position. I'm not going to be buying Microsoft long term at 516 when I have shares at 300. I just want to see, are we going to break above this trend right here around $515 per share? If we can get above that, that is something that I will be interested in. But for me, I do think this is actually a potential short position, especially right before rate cuts. Looking for this move right into 515, consolidation. Let's see how it does. If it pulls down right there and then pushing down right there as a rejection on Microsoft is something I want to watch. Long term, where do I want to buy these guys? What I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding around $450. We have multiple touch points. I'm going to re-adding meaning like building my position because I have shares much lower. But you see that we have rejections around 464 and then a few more touch points around 452, 445. And that is really where I am going to be looking to add. And when you look at Microsoft as this pullback, I want to see pullbacks to about, that's 10% right there. So a 10% pullback would make that realistic. Now let's go over some stocks that I've been looking at that I think are something that you maybe have been watching, but maybe just lightly looking into. These are some dip stocks that I've been looking into. Adobe is very impressive in my eyes. I looked at their earnings. They beat their earnings. They're doing well. And I just want you to see their 5-year chart. So this is their 5-year chart. And they have been holding a base around $332 per share. They did well on their earnings. Everybody thinks that, they're in trouble with AI, etc. AI is going to take over. I think that's kind of the sentiment here when it comes to Adobe. We pulled back to $350 per share. When you look at the year to date, look at those lows. In April, were the same thing, $335. The reason I have not bought them yet is because I'm still being patient. This is a company that I will actually make the exception and buy higher. I need them to prove to me that they are going to move above $400 per share first. And I know you're thinking, well, you could have them at $350. Yeah, you could have them at $350, but what happens if it doesn't keep going up? Look at my margin of safety here. Somebody keeps sending me invites, so it's going to decline. There we go. So look at my margin of safety here. So if I buy at $350, then that means I have to follow a stop loss, because stop loss going to $250, $275, $260 to $275 is your range. So I want to make sure that that is something that I'm going to be watching, because the levels that I want to purchase at is around $275 or $280, because I can manage my risk much better versus buying at $350 per share. So I'm looking for that range right here. And if we get above 400, I'll be looking to purchase. If we look to sell off, I need to see what are we going to do if Adobe sells off, breaks 325, and then starts sinking down again to $282 per share. Guys, remember, stocks can keep getting cheaper. They don't have to be a good price. It doesn't matter what when we buy stocks, we're not buying millions of dollars. So we're not moving the needle per se. So if you look, where would be the next support level if we broke this 270? It'd really be down here around $200 per share. So something that oh, sorry, I realized you guys couldn't see it. So I'm looking like right here around $206 to $210 per share. So I just want to give it some time. When you look at the pullbacks, 350, being patient. If we pull back to 300, that's a 13% pullback. If we pull back to 285, it's an 18% pullback. So that's what I'll be looking for with Adobe. Let me go over the next magnificent. It's going to be Mag 8. This is going to be the next Mag 8 stock, in my opinion. It's going to be AVGO. AVGO, semiconductor company. They have their hands in a bunch of things, and they're proven profitability. They've had the biggest year. I would say they're probably the most underrated stock of all stocks, because they have just outperformed on a basis. Look at these gains on this year. If you were to buy that dip in April from 140 up here, you're up 160%. That is incredible gains. Congrats to AVGO investors who have bought. We've been trending within here. We're trading at the top of the channel now. Now that we're trading at the top of the channel, I would be looking for pullbacks, and those pullbacks are going to have to be pretty steep. Let's go to here. This would be your first area. If you're going to be scalping them, is going to be around $350 per share. Looking at that $350 per share. This is Webull. I'm using Webull to chart. I'm not sure if I can I don't know if when it comes to TikTok, because I'm new at the TikTok live, I don't know if it allows you to text in this thing like you guys can message. I don't know if I can message in this, but this is using the Webull for it. So looking at AVGO looking for pullbacks to 350. Now, obviously, these are trades that will take sometimes time to happen. It doesn't mean they're going to happen in one day, But with AVGO, it does seem to move up. It has very big ATR. ATR meaning like the average price that it's moving in a day, 337 up to 370. I mean, it's moved 40 to 50 points in a day. So I would not be surprised if we get some negative sentiment, that we get pullbacks to at least 350, consolidate, push down lower to 336. AVGO has that ability to do those things. So it's definitely a riskier stock. In terms of the volatility, if you can't handle volatility, I would definitely just stay away. Looking at UNH, this is a stock we called out. Everybody on Twitter, everybody's calling this stock out. Everybody's like, oh, I told you so, I told you so. But I mean, unless you were actually buying during this dip, there's no reason to even be speaking about it. I have shares down at 260. We bought this dip around there, 260, 270. We started averaging up, and now we're just sitting on our hands right now. I'm looking to make a ad on them, but I'm looking at $300, $315 to start re-adding to my position because I'm up very nicely on them already. So I want to be patient. I don't want to buy them up at 360. I was buying down at 260s, 270s, 280s, even 300, buying this base when it was just multiple times bouncing off of this. So now we're going to sit patient on it. If we get a pullback, I want to see a pullback to around like $310, $315 per share. That's definitely what I will be watching out for. So looking at this, if we get that pullback, it's 350 back down, would be 10% to 315. That's what I'll be looking for with UNH. I want to go down a few stocks that we've been talking about. We were talking about this on the last TikTok, was Duolingo. And we were talking about this cup and handle that was forming. And when you look at this, it looks like a cup and handle right here. And you actually have the bull flag, but then it got rejected, which was interesting. So we're going to have to see. Remember, not all flags look exactly like the pictures. There's your cup. Now you're rejecting this 320 range and pushing down. But it doesn't mean it's over yet. But you can see that we did have that rejection. And we're going to see, can we get above $320 per share? I definitely still think it is possible. You have buyers coming in around this $300 level. I'm going to zoom in on the 1 month now. And let's go to the 5-day to get a real closer look at what's going on here. Looking here, you had this, the end of the cup, and then it pushed up and then rejected at the 320. But it's not over yet. If it can hold $300 per share, this is going to be a strict day trade. I'll be looking for moves off of 300, stop loss below 300, obviously. And I want to see, can we push up higher and retest on Monday or Tuesday? I think maybe Friday. We just had some selling off into the weekend. Can we push higher into this 320 and retest and try to break through that? Because when you look at Duolingo on a wider time frame, like a 6-month chart, it's clear that you have this cup into this resistance at 320. If it gets above that, then we can start making moves to probably $350 per share. So it's definitely something that I will be paying attention to. And next, let's break down Chipotle. Chipotle stock is a stock that I'm very interested in. They have sold off in the, like, if you just go on the 1 year, it's pretty sick how much Chipotle, they're talking about how the growth story is basically over in basically North America. I just disagree. I mean, 42% pullback. Every time I go to Chipotle, the place is packed. So I'm not really sure where they're coming up with these numbers. And their earnings are good. Yeah, they pulled back 4% on their revenue. I don't think that's something to cry about, 4%. They said 2 consecutive quarters in a row that they're pulling back 3 to 4%. For me, I'm okay with it. I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm going to be looking to buy this stock soon. But if you want to know, I'll be buying in the YouTube portfolio. You can become a member of the YouTube channel and you get access to it. Pulled back over 40%. And I'm being very patient with these guys. Very patient with these levels. I got to go. This is how much it hasn't been over here in so long. You have to go back to 2023. I'm really looking for $35 per share. $35 per share. You just count me in at that point. I'll take my chances on Chipotle and burritos and every single teenager that goes there for lunch pretty much. So looking at $38 per share currently. I want to see, are we going to get that pullback? Are we going to get that pullback to $35 $5 per share. I'd be very interested to start dollar cost averaging. The only thing that's making me nervous is I'm starting to see that we are getting basically a support level at 38.5. So I'm tempted to get some shares in around this, but not yet. I want to see how they do next week. We have rate cuts. I got to see what's going to happen with rate cuts. Are we going to, if that doesn't go good, are we going to break down and make further lows? That is what I would like to see. Let's go over open stock. This stock has gone to the moon this year. I mean, this is incredible gains. Congrats to you guys. This is a stock I honestly was looking at $2 to $3, and I didn't pull the trigger, and there it is. So I just kind of don't really look at them as much because they're up over 1,000%, which is excellent gains on them. Looking for pullbacks, I need at least $7 to even start considering this stock. But where I'd really like to trade them is when I look at the 1 month. I really want to see if I can get $6 per share. I would be interested in being a shareholder around $6. But this could be a pump and dump. We'll see. Because you can see that we have support here around $6 per share. Right here. And then just looking at the aspect here, if you pull back to 6, you got to pay attention to what's happening in the news. That's a 35% pullback. So I think something would probably be wrong with the company if they pull back 30%. But you never know. We'll have to take a look into that and see what's going on. Let's go over BMNR. Tom Lee is the biggest bull behind this. And looking at the year-to-date chart, I just haven't bought shares of this. They're kind of trading within this window of $41 up to $55, highs of 72. Let's hit Solana. You know, Solana is, I have crypto obviously, and Solana was something I was looking into adding, and it just looks very nice. Looking at this chart right here, you can see that we traded from $95 up to $246 per share. It is still running right now. Like, let's just look at the last 5 days. Look at this move all the way up from $225 up to $250 per share. Solana really is a beast. And if I'm going to add, because when I do crypto, I buy a few that are just long term. I'm looking for pullbacks. I got to see pullbacks to 200. So for me, I'm going to be sitting out for a while. I set my alerts, and that's it. I'm not going to chase the highs on this. So I need a 20% pullback on Solana. ETH is a stock that it's crypto that I pretty much add to once every week. Right now, we are buying dollar cost averaging into the highs, but we have cost basis down here much lower. So we're okay with it, adding a few here and there. I still think it's a little it's a little pricey in my eyes, but looking at ETH, what I like about it is if you have these two poles, if we can get above 4,871, which is right here, which you can see it hit 5,000. So if we can get above that, I'm probably still going to continue adding to it, because then I think it's going to keep going, just like how the Microsoft example when it makes new highs. We called out XRP as well. XRP was trading within this range. It was up here, and it was in this wedge. Now it is starting to break out of this wedge, it looks like. So let's see if it holds. And zooming in on the 1 month, it's just got to hold $3 per share. If we could hold $3 per share, then I think we could push higher above 320, which would be nice. And let's go over everybody's favorite. Let's go over Bitcoin. It should be somewhere up here. Let me just see. Trying to bring up Bitcoin here. There you go. There's Bitcoin trading at 115,000 per share. When people join through my Gemini, they get $75. I get $75, and I buy Bitcoin with that money. I look at it as like free money because Gemini's giving it to me. So $115 per share. I just want to go over the Gemini IPO because they IPO Gemini Space Station. And when you look at them, just go on the one. Why is this looking like this? Let me just go on the 1 day. So on the 1 day, it looks like they went as high as $45 per share. And then it kind of just sunk from there. So that definitely is not a good sign to see it just completely die off like that. Let me just do the percentage gain so we can see, or percentage loss. If anybody bought at 45.89, they're down 28% right now. When I look at this on a little bit of a larger scale, just a strictly trading perspective, all right, I'm going to tell you where I think We'll see where it opens up. So, I mean, it could open up tonight and we're not even going to have a chance for this. But it's got to get above this 33.72. If it gets above this 33.72, and let's just make it nice and easy and just make it $34 per share, because a lot of stocks will trade to half dollar, whole dollar levels. It's got to get above this $34 range. If it can get above this $34 range, then we have a potential chance to start moving up a little bit here. But right now, if it cannot get above this, it's going to continue sinking. So just be cautious if you're trading this Gemini. We're going to go over Klarna. I'm holding this in my TikTok. You guys have seen it if you looked at my profile. We have them at, I believe, around $45 per share. Looking at the last $5 days, this is really sold off. This is sold off pretty good. So 50, it's not even letting me go back, but it's not letting me show you for some reason, but at $57 per share, pulled back to 42, we're down 20, it's 25% pullback if you bought at 57. So we're holding shares at 45. Let's see what it does. The IPO, I believe, was 35 to 37. It seems to be forming some sort of base around $40 per share. So once again, with Klarna, you need to get above $45 per share to really start saying, okay, we have our lows here at $40. I'm not sure what that is. I think I clicked the wrong thing. We have our lows at $45. Now, can we get above 45? And if we can get above 45, can we start making a move higher? It's definitely something I would be looking into. So definitely be cautious if you were trading these stocks. Look for upwards momentum. And the reason I like the $45 mark so much is because you have multiple points where you had support and resistance. So if you zoom in here, we were having consolidation here at this $44 range. We're just going to round up to 45. And then, let me make this a little bigger for everybody. And then right here, you had multiple resistance points where you failed 45 right here. And then zooming out, you failed it again at $45 per share. And then you sunk lower. And now you are forming a base at the $45 range. So you are trading within $40 to $45. And that's where I'm looking for with this. So just being cautious. If you're going to go long on this, you got to get above $45 per share. You got to get above this resistance point. It's not even that big a move. I mean, I think if a stock can go down from $57, it can definitely move up 5% in one day above 45. But you got to be patient and wait for that move. Doesn't mean it'll happen though. So definitely be looking into that. Let's go over a few more stocks, then we'll end this live stream. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. RR, I was holding shares at $3.35. I sold them the other day for like a $20 gain. For some reason, they're just really struggling at this point. And I could be wrong, but it seems like 350 is like this impossible zone to get above right now. So I got to see them get above this 350 for me to be interested. $3.50, rejection again. And then here is your next rejection right here. There's very thin wicks. There's not many buyers from 340 up to 350. And I could be wrong. It's trading at almost my cost basis of where I had it. But I'm going to sit this one out. I'm going to watch and see where it goes. I set my alerts. And I'd rather do that instead of waking up and it's already down to like $2.80 and I'm down 10-20%. So I just want to be cautious in that aspect. All right. So looking at that, that's really where I'm looking at. If we get a pullback, maybe $3. I could look. These are scalps. This is not long-term investments. I'm not buying RR Robotics for long-term. I'm not thinking this is the next Amazon. This is strictly day trading, guys. Looking for that 8%, and you got to follow stop loss. You're gonna buy at $3. You better cut your loss if it breaks these lows at 280. So you just got to be really cautious when you trade these. MU stock is going to the moon right now. This is semiconductor. Look at that. So boom, had that amazing bounce off of 125 up to 157. Still continuing right there. Alibaba is another stock we need to be watching. I have shares much lower, around $100 per share. I am definitely looking to add to Alibaba. They are showing positive news, positive catalysts, looking for pullbacks to about $125 per share, and then I will be interested. Visa, I just want to point out, Visa has been struggling. And this is a company that I want. I mean, struggling is like, just hear me out on this. I want to see Visa pullback. It is starting to hit the top here, it seems. And hopefully I'm wrong, but I want to get shares of Visa, and I would love to get shares if we can get some pullbacks here. These pullbacks are not steep enough for me. 339, I need to see pullbacks to $270 per share, which is a 20% pullback. I want to see this pullback to 220. That would be nice. I would love to see that. And that's what I'm looking for. So if you're going to buy quality companies, look for pullbacks. I like right here at this yellow line, which is around $300 per share. That's where I'm looking to start dollar cost averaging in. But where I really want to start loading the boat is going to be basically around this 270 range. So those are the 2 points I'm looking at when it comes to Visa. And that's how I want to play it. Let's see, anything else that I didn't cover? Is there any stocks you guys want to be covered? Because I'm pretty much at the end of the live stream and I just want to, if you guys have anything that we need to cover, we'll definitely cover it. So let's see here. See if there's anything that pops out as I go through the list. You got SCHD, LMT, APLD. I feel like kind of went to the moon without me, so I'm just leaving it alone, as they say. Nike stock is a stock that is interesting. I think it's very tariff sensitive. So they have earnings coming up, and I just want to point this out. So looking at this chart, $68, let's just say 70 just to make it easy. $68 to $70 has multiple touch points of support. But with earnings coming up, this support can get trashed. I'm looking for pullbacks to $60 per share. For me, this would be a straight scalp on earnings. And these are in and out trades. So looking at this, looking for pullbacks, $62 to $60. I would like to see a pullback of 14-15%. Realistically, we'll have to see when earnings gets closer, what is the implied move that they think it's going to be. So I'll be watching that as we go. But if it continues to hold this $68 to $70 per range, there's no reason not to buy it, but you have to keep your stop loss below this $67 per share. $67 per share, keep your stop loss. If it breaks below that, no issues with that. All right, guys, that's the end of the live stream. I appreciate you guys. If you want more Trading Simplified content, please check out the YouTube channel. You will see it. Just click on my bio. You can go right to my YouTube channel. We live stream. We also have the WAP where you can join as well. The WAP is $10 a month. We have a community on there. We're always calling out plays. And just to give you guys a quick highlight of the plays that we did since April that were big was Google. Google we bought. We'll just do year to date. Google we bought around 160. And you'll see it in my YouTube portfolio if you become a member or you just watch my videos, you'll see them as well. We were up over 50% on Google. Then we bought UNH dip. The UNH dip was a big one as well. We bought that. That was around 260 and 280 and making that move higher. We are up basically 35%. And then the last one, well, actually, there's two of them. There's Microsoft and Tesla. We bought Microsoft around $340 per share to $350, and we, since that trading at 500, we're up over 41% on that. And Tesla, we're up over 80%, which was awesome. Tesla was like one of my proudest buys because that was when everybody thought the company was going to run out of business basically. And we bought that dip in April around $220 per share. And that's as close to the bottom as you can get. I mean, it was trading at $214 per share. We have a cost base at $220. Yeah, I'm very proud about that one. And just looking at those gains, it's up over about 80%, I believe it was right now. Yeah, we're up 75, 80%. So, I mean, $10 a month, and those are pretty good plays to get 50 to 80% on your money back. Plus, you have the quality of the investors that are in that community. They're always communicating, always trying to find the next best stock. But guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll try to live stream again soon.